Welcome everyone. Today we discuss about displacement and rootlessness in V.S. Naipaul's A House for Mr. Biswas. Introduction. A House for Mr. Biswas is a 1961 novel by V.S. Naipaul, significant as Naipaul's first work to achieve acclaim worldwide. It is the story of Mohan Biswas, a Hindu Indo-Trinidadian who continually strives for success and mostly fails, who marries into the influential Tulsi family not to find himself dominated by it, and who finally set the goal of owning his own house. It relies on some biographical elements from the experience of the author's father and views a colonial and world sharply with post-colonial perspectives. About displacement. The term displacement has a strong connection with diaspora literature that studies the experiences of pain and pleasure of the people in the diaspora. People in the diaspora do not have comfortable life since they are away from their homeland. It is not easy for them to integrate into the new mainstream society because of several variations such as language, culture, custom, religion, beliefs, etc. They are to face difficulties in the host land. They came across the feeling of displacement through alienation, homelessness, identity crisis, etc. that are interconnected in the diaspora. Displacement is described by Homi K. Baba. A disorienting condition, the borders between home and world become confused and uncanny. The private and public became part of each other, forcing upon us a vision that is as driving as it is discreting. Mr. Biswas as a displaced character. Biswas suffered from placelessness. He is a displaced person, a man without a home and has no place to call his own. He has been a homeless person in Trinidad. Displacement and rootlessness. Displacement and rootlessness are related terms as both the terms are experienced by the diaspora. Displacement gives birth to the feeling of rootlessness. The term displacement is a state of being out of one's own place. In this situation, someone or something is displaced from his or her original place and put into the new place. In the situation of displacement, one feels as if he or she has cut from his or her roots. These are the common experiences faced by the immigrants. The displaced subject feels devoid to his root as he has lost his or her original language, culture, behavior, traditions, and religions. This is because today on movement from one place to another place, even from the country to another country, has become so common due to the advanced communication and transport means. The reason behind it may be job, trade, and further studies. Earlier, it was due to salary, imprisonment, invasion, and exile. The emotion, culture, and psychological identity of these immigrants is deeply related with difference, distance, and dislocation. Displacement is the same as being in between two or more cultures. It is defined as a feeling of separation and isolation which results from problems stemming from rapid social changes such as industrialization and urbanization, which has broken down traditional relationships among individuals and groups and the goods and service they produce alienation. Themes of diaspora. The themes of diaspora is alienation, displacement, existential rootlessness, nostalgia, quirks of identities. Displacement and rootlessness in V.S. Naipaul's A House for Mr. Biswas. V.S. Naipaul is the best known of the best Indian novelist. Naipaul's fourth novel, A House for Mr. Biswas, established him as the author of a major 20th century novel. The novel presents Mr. Biswas' lifelong pain for being displaced and rootless in the Caribbean island away from his ancestral land, India. Mohan Biswas is displaced again and again, exclusively as well as inclusively. He has inherited displacement from his native country as his parents bore the stamp of indentured. The central figure in A House for Mr. Biswas is Mohan Biswas, a man aware of the problems of his own future and the obscurity of his origin, desperately attempting to make a place for himself in the world. The search of the protagonist in the novel for a home is a symbol of Naipaul's own search for roots. The novel begins at the end when Biswas has got his dream house. It is a run-down shake, but that hardly matters. The important thing is that Biswas had found a place under the sun. Naipaul observes how terrible it would have been at this time to be without it. His means without a house. So finally, after years of struggle, Viswas had been able to realize his dream. Both Viswas and Naipaul are hinted by the same sense of rootlessness. A House for Mr. Viswas is the story of a community which is struggling to make a dent in an alien society, a society which will not make an alien society, a society which will not make an effort to accommodate them. Alien Viswas and his kind struggle of on their own. Throughout the second chapter, the idea of homelessness is very clear. Viswas wanders from one house to another, searching for a sense of belonging. Many times, displacement. After his father's death, Viswas loses the only home he has ever known, and is a wandered for the next 35 years of his life. He is pushed around by circumstances for the rest of his life. Industrialization conquers Viswas when the land on which his home once stood is turned into an oil field. Rapid development has uprooted an individual from his home. His stay with a relative Jairam comes to a humiliating half when he is thrown out for stealing bananas. He goes to his mother, who is often so welcoming. Now Viswas has to work in a rum shop, where the job at the rum shop also ends on a note of disgrace. His mother can only remind Viswas is that Pandits warn that he is an unlucky son. Viswas sets off to find another job. He tries to identify himself with a tailor and then with a barber. His search to identify himself with any of the professions is representative of the wider search for roots. Not only Mohan Viswas, there are other characters in the novel who have been separated from their roots and they experience the sense of displacement. Such characters are Seth, Mr. Tulsi, Mrs. Tulsi, Govind, Turtle, widows of Hanuman's house, Raghu, Dipti, Tar, etc. All these characters are uprooted as they are away from their own original homeland, India. Conclusion. The term displacement is generally means a state of being out of one's own place. It is a situation when someone or something is displaced in new place away from his or her or its original place. The state of displacement is obviously not comfortable for immigrants, as Maglione says. They can be deemed not to belong there and disqualified from thinking of the new land as their home. The displaced subject loses his or her native language, culture, beliefs, religion, etc. Thank you.